Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Legal Matters by Sai Baba Sunkara. Jurisprudence Part C. Question paper 2019 and the first question 2015. Question number 15. The problem is like this. A public servant, a government servant shot at the unruly mob to maintain law and order. So you can think that a police officer fired at an unruly mob to maintain law and order. The result is few people were injured, and those few people, they filed the case under heading of liability. Advice. Yes, in jurisprudence I told you what is liability. So the issue is, please remember, whether the government is liable or the public servant is liable to pay compensation for the injuries the people suffered, even though they are unruly mob. If so, under which liability? So, vicarious liability. First of all, basically, you know what is liability. Liability means it is amenability, it is responsibility to the law, legal responsibility, being bound to. Liability, yes, you are bound to do, even though your servant does some mistake. As owner, as master, yes, you are liable under vicarious liability. Even though you did not show any negligence, but under the concept of absolute liability, you are liable to pay compensation, just like Bhopal case. So liability is an important issue. Here, so coming to the topic, when we start the discussion, please remember, yes, according to section 129 of the CRBC, the police are authorized to quell or to disperse the unruly mob after declaring them as unruly mob. You may be knowing, suppose if some vegetation is likely to occur, the police will camp orders under 144 CRBC. That is, what is 144 CRBC? Restraining the movement of more than 4 persons with deadly weapons or with any offensive weapons. So they should not join as a mob. But as things go on, definitely they will join as a mob. Sometimes they become unruly. Then the police will try to caution them. Arey Baba, you have joined here, you came here, now we are declaring that you are an unlawful assembly, you are unruly mob, please go away, otherwise police will resort to lathi charge. This warning they will give, but people, they don't care. Then they will resort to lathi charge, mild lathi charge. Even then they surge forward or they come forward, but then the police will use cannons or fire or horses or water spraying, things like that. Ultimately, the final result is, after due warning in the mic, they will resort to fire. Fire in the air or fire on the lower portion of the body. Ultimately, some innocent persons or the gullible public will die in the incident. Some people will receive in the incident, injuries in the incident. Then, what sort of compensation they have to give? Here, you have to look into both aspects. Here, what happened is, the unruly mob, very clearly the question was put that they were unruly mob. When they were unruly mob, when they have violated the law, so why should the police department or why should the government pay compensation for the wrongdoers? Social liability. So if some accident takes place or if some LG polymers case, even though there is no mistake on their part, yes, they have to. Brandix very recently, leakage of gas, no doubt. There may be some negligence, but whether negligence is there or not, definitely you have to pay compensation. So this is theory that too as students, please remember, write that they have to pay compensation. Please remember, because of the civil and also criminal liability, tortious liability or vicarious liability. Best is vicarious liability. You can mention Article 300. Article 300 of the Constitution says the state can sue and the state can be sued also. So, basing on the activity of the police department, which is a part of the state, yes, the state has to pay compensation. No doubt, it is painful to note that in police firings, lot of gullible public or the marginalized sector, they are suffering. After police firing, what happened? Some inquiry, judicial inquiry or executive inquiry, it will be appointed and they will report, normally they will say justified or unjustified. If the report finds any laxity on the part of the police, state is liable to pay damages. So Honorable Supreme Court of India, so they renunciated the state liability, and please remember, no immunity can be awarded. Of course, immunity will be there in certain aspects. Anyway, state is liable to pay compensation in case of death. I think in particular case they have given the also, I think PUCL, or I'll tell you 1 minute. I will tell you. In the case of PUCL versus State of Bihar, 1987, Supreme Court stated that in the case of police firing, 20,000 should be awarded for the death and 5,000 for the injured persons, since it is violation of Article 21, even though the police claim right of private defense under 100 of the Indian Penal Code. So you have to pay compensation. Now the important point is, state is liable to pay compensation under the concept of vicarious liability. Whenever you think of vicarious liability, you have to remember the case of State of Rajasthan versus Vijayawati case. Don't forget it. Anyway, as far as this case is concerned, police firing, Lilavati Behra alias Lalita, that is also a very important case. Her son was kidnapped and ultimately his dead body was traced on the railway track. Lilavati Behra versus State of Odisha, 2003. Then another case law, Joginder Kaur versus State of Punjab, 1969. I will tell you in Andhra case, that is APCLC, AP Civil Liberties Committee. I think Kalyan Rao was also one of the members. APCLC versus State Government of AP in WP number 15419 by 2006, decided in 2009. Actually, very sensitive case. Of course, here, basing on information that Naxalites were moving in Nalamala forest, so the team, Greyhounds team, they went to Alatam Kota near Palutla, and exchange of fire has taken place. Some people, so-called Maoists or terrorists, they died. Ultimately, APCLC filed a case stating that the police, they have reached a case of 302 IPC, and a case has to be registered under section 302 IPC against the police personnel who are involved in this exchange of fire. But we objected. Of course, I was also I was in precaution at a particular point of time. We will stop that. So the government argued vehemently that if the names of the police officers are disclosed while charging them under 302 IPC, the morality of the police will go down. They exchanged fire. They wanted to save their lives. It's executing the right of private defense. How can you tell the names of the persons? So ultimately, Supreme Court stated that in exceptions taken, only in exceptional cases, case has to be registered under section 302. Same thing, I was one of the victims. A case under section 302 IPC was registered against me in Markapur town PS. At the time only town and rural is Markapur town PS. Luckily, by God's grace, we came out successful. I will tell about the same in person, not in this video. Right. So, conclusion, please remember. So, you remember Gera Shekhar case also. What Gera Shekhar was a State of AP which occurred in Ongole Taluk police station, that is Madhipad, sorry. Not in Ongole Taluk, Madhipadu police station. He was lifted from Madhipadu police station, from Ongole Taluk police station. Dead body was traced in Madhipadu police station. You know the case very well. So, to conclude, the injured person can get compensation for the injuries under the general exceptions. Of course, if the general exceptions are not established, we can't do anything. But normally, as a socio-economic measure, definitely the compensation will be awarded. The state is liable to pay compensation under vicarious liability. If you write this much, it is sufficient. With this, I am concluding. Thank you very much.